Hello everyone, and welcome back to Greenhouse Rambles, the relaxing Q&A series where I get to come into my beautiful plant tycoon greenhouse, take care of our lovely plants that we crossbreed and experiment with, and spend some time answering some of your guys' questions. Thank you guys so much for all of your excitement, by the way. So many of you were so excited to see the return of Greenhouse Rambles. It was really fun to see how many of you guys have been around long enough to remember the last time we actually did Greenhouse Rambles. I can't believe that our beautiful adventures here and that the garden and the oasis we have made out of all of the stories that we have told is beginning to reach the point of being close to 6 years old. Isn't that just amazing? And we have so many years ahead of us. But for those of you who are new, welcome, welcome. This is an extremely relaxing series, really meant more to spend time getting to know about each other quite a bit through the questions that you guys can leave me in the comments. Is that an unhealthy? I swear. Yes, got the little unhealthy leaf. And through the conversations that we have here. So it is going to be very relaxing in its pace. It's going to be me being a complete goose most of the time. And it is something that's very special to my heart. I love spending a little bit of relaxing time just with all of you. And today we have quite a few questions thanks to the wonderful questions that you guys left in the previous comments. I was so tickled to see how many of you are excited for just being able to spend time together like this. It really is hard, I'm finding, to discover the places where people will sort of open up their personal stories and create a space where you feel like you really get to know them, and like you might even get to know a little bit more about yourself. Or I always love listening to Q&As. Like I just watched one from the English simmer, who is one of the simmers who I like watching. She had a birthday Q&A. And I love watching those Q&As and thinking what my answers would be to those questions, because I feel like I can relate to the people who are answering the questions if I hear their answers, and I get to kind of ponder what my answer would be too. So if you guys have any fun answers to the questions that I am asked, do please feel free to answer it yourself in the comments. I would love to know what you guys would answer to some of the questions that I get, because they are just so interesting. And isn't it so much fun to just learn more about each other, or daydream, or just be inspired by one another? That's what our community is all about. So please feel free to answer the questions I'm asked in the comments and to ask me more down there too. And before we get going with the questions today, oh, I see a little spider. Haha, I caught him. I wonder who's buying all of our little spiders that we catch. Is it like the llama scouts in Sims 4? But before we go ahead and get moving today, let's go ahead and cross-pollinate some of our plants. This is a fabled bamboo plant. Do we have any of her seeds? I don't believe we have any of her seeds. So, okay, we're gonna we're gonna move some of these guys around a little bit. I really like the viola maple as well. So one of the ways that we can ensure that we get the seeds is we can look at what the seeds for these guys look like. We can go into our little seed category, and I do have the viola maple already, so I don't need to worry about keeping it, but I'm kind of curious what would happen if we crossed a Nox Fantail with a viola maple. So let's go ahead and try crossbreeding those two. And then we have the little mystic lemon bush here as well. This is really fun when we get to start crisscross applesauce breeding some of the plants. I'm also going to go ahead and have the fabled lemon bush self-pollinate so that we really don't need to keep it. I have a lot of its seeds, but we'll just self-pollinate a couple of them. And I'm going to go ahead and pollinate that plant. Have I pollinated the fabled maple? I have not. Let's go ahead and have the Nox Fantail. Well, actually, I don't think I have any of the fabled fabled bamboo, excuse me. I don't think I have any of their seeds. And the little blue star. Do I have any blue star seeds? We just want to make sure that we keep those. No, I don't have any blue star seeds, so we'll go ahead and pollinate that one. And the viola bamboo, I think I have a few of tucked away somewhere. We'll go ahead and get a purebred cross and then sell this one and then sell these guys. And we'll see if we can get a little fountain today. Wouldn't that be fun, guys? There's quite a few things that we can actually buy from the nursery to upgrade it and make it look pretty. There's very, very rare extinct seeds and endangered seeds that we could buy. We still need to get better shears to take care of our plants. It's going to be really fun to see how we continue, or should I say to seed, how we continue to grow this little garden as I answer your questions. So let's get to it. All right, there were so many questions asked last time, and I love them. Please continue to bring them to me. I'm gonna have a little sip of tea while all of our guests arrive. And I usually answer the questions pretty slowly, but today I'm going to try to answer as many of them as possible so that you guys can get even more fresh questions for me. And I even have a journal called the Me Journal. That's an entire journal full of questions to answer. That was a birthday gift that you guys saw on snail mail from one of my wonderful patrons, Lavender Rain, that I would love to use in the future too. But to get to that point, I need to answer all these other questions. So, with my Ubuntu blanket on my lap, some tea in front of me, let's do this. Jordan, oh, we already have cells going on too. Jordan asks, would you consider visiting a wolf preserve? And I totally would, Jordan. I'm getting pickier and pickier as I'm becoming more well educated about the animal reserves that I will actually go and visit. I'm very picky about the zoos that I will visit, and I'm always open to admitting that many of them could do better, and they do great in some areas, and I'm always open to admitting that they don't get enough funding, period. But I really think that there is a place for overlapping those kinds of animal enclosed habitat areas and educating the public, and I think that there is something really essential. There's a balance of certain types of animals. I don't think all animals, like dolphins, if we could help it, elephants, gorillas, chimpanzees, cockatoos, I don't think all animals are suited to be in a zoo or enclosed environment. However, there is also the reality that many of them, like wolves, or elephants in some cases, depending on the country, many species don't have a safe place to be wild. So there's a balance. I don't think it's a permanent thing one way or another, and I'm hoping that as time goes on and as you guys grow up and as we all try to take a little bit more of a stance in helping the world, we'll be able to create safe wild space for those animals. But long story short is, yes, if it was the right kind of reserve, if it was accredited, if it had excellent ratings, if it had excellent reviews, I would certainly consider visiting it. It'd be really fun. I know Stacy, my friend Stacy Plays, did just absolutely a beautiful video with her visit to seeing real wolves. And if you guys haven't seen her video, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the series, but it was when she went to visit where wolves were and went to listen to wolf calls and see if they could get the wolves to call with them. It was so lovely. So I definitely recommend checking out her video. If I ever go, it would probably be very casual, definitely not nearly as professional as she can do her stuff. It's quite amazing what she pulls off. But it would be like a casual vlog. And it would be really fun. It would be really, really fun. I would especially love to see the red wolves in North Carolina again. I have visited a population of red wolves in Asheboro Zoo, one of the only remaining populations in the world. They are endangered and they are not going to have that wild space unless people can change some of the decisions that were made and can make that happen for them. So if you can't tell, my heart is a little bit open today on thinking about how we could do better for our planet and all of the creatures that share it, people and animals included. So I'm a little rambly on that, but long story short, yes, not only would I visit a wolf preserve, I would really hope to be able to take an active stance in making a viable wild future for them and many other creatures safely for us as well in the future. But all right, speaking of wild animals, Rachel Lee, hi Rachel, so good to see you around as always, asked, what kind of raptors do you have up there in Michigan? And that's a good question. I actually am a little caught out because I would need to look up the actual definition of what a raptor would be considered. There's nuances in describing biology that sometimes elude me a little bit because it's been so long since I've looked at certain things. But if raptors include the hawks, we have Coopers and redtail that I see quite frequently. They're not raptors, I don't believe whatsoever, but we do have a big group of vultures that has been around lately as well. And that's not talking for all of Michigan. This is literally just talking about my little patch of my backyard and what I have seen. And I believe I just posted on Instagram recently a picture of what I think is a female's Cooper hawk that I found while I was walking in the forest. Oh, and we have sold all of our plants. Good job, guys. While we're talking about beautiful hawks, isn't that fantastic? Oh, and we actually need to go ahead and change time to fast. Hello, little bug. So that hopefully we can get some more of these crossbreeds going. But I was just walking in the forest the other day. I actually found her while I was recording a vlog I shared with you guys about some of my wild dreams of what I hope my future will be. And I stumbled on her and she was in the process of actually mating. So I actually stumbled on a pair of mating hawks. I think they were Cooper's hawks. It is very difficult to see sometimes. I don't know if they were Cooper's hawks, but yeah, long story short, I did stumble on some mating hawks. So that was quite exciting. Mystic Lemon Bush, do I have any of your babies? I do. So let's try crossbreeding you with a fabled lemon bush and see what happens. And let's also go ahead and tuck this little seed away. This is actually a cross between a couple of our other plants, but all right, I'm just going to tuck a couple seeds together. We're going to sell this one 1 2 3 4 5 on my fabled, whoops, 1 2 3 4 5 on my fabled lemon bushes, and then we'll settle in. But yeah, so I've seen Cooper's hawks, red-tailed hawks, and not a raptor, I don't believe, but vultures in the area lately. It's very exciting to see everybody starting to show up, especially because last year we had a pair of red-tailed hawks consider nesting in our area. There is a pair that for 2 years running have been nesting at Chips's mom's house in North Carolina that I have taken pictures of too. And we're going to be visiting them in May, so I'll see if they're nesting again and try to get a picture for you guys if they are, because that would be very exciting. But I would have to look for more. And I really hope that the future plans I have that I've been alluding to on the vlog channel would encourage and increase the vast amount of time I want to be spending outside sharing the natural world with you guys so that I could see more. Also, related to wolves in the outdoors, Rachel asks, have you ever read or heard of The Wolves of the Beyond by Catherine Lasky? Excuse me. And I have not actually, Rachel, but several people replied to your comment saying that they indeed have and they love it, which is just so exciting. I love it when you guys can come together with something that you love to do that you can share. So I haven't read it, but I will add it to my list of things to look up because I have been thinking about doing a Sims 3 or 4, kind of debating like which one I would choose, wolf series of some kind. Unfortunately, dogs/wolves cannot hunt in either of those two games, but I just really would love to be able to see, I would love to see something with wolves in The Sims, so we could kind of create like a wolf pack family, or maybe a wolf, like maybe we could have one of our wolves reborn as a human, like Luna could be a young girl that the pack helps to raise and take care of, so that she can try to help them adjust to a life where the wild things have gone missing. All sorts of ideas about wolves lately, and maybe a good book series about wolves would help me with that, especially because we do need to be returning to our cloud sagas hopefully sometime soon. All right, sip of tea. An ivy-covered garden. So wonderful to see you as always. Asks, can you give details on your indoor garden's construction? I can't plant outside because of the amount of strays around here, but I miss gardening. And I can definitely tell you my indoor garden is mostly made up of shade-loving plants that I have next to my windows, such as my philodendron, which is quite happy by the window, an orchid that is very happy by the window. A lot of my plants are just plants that I found that will tolerate the amount of light that I get in my office, and I keep against the windows, and I am now watering with our brand new RO water that we have, which is so good. I had no idea what I was missing out on by not having filtered water, but it is so fantastic, and my plants have responded to it like I am just giving them the most blessed spring water from some sort of ancient source, so they're loving it. But otherwise, the garden that you are probably referring to is the one that I have in the background when I'm doing vlogs, the one I'm looking at to my left across from my desk right now, that is filled with plants. And those are all actually philodendrons and Z plants. They're actually called Z plants, Z plants, and they are so forgiving. They will grow under almost any conditions. They have been fantastic for me. They tolerate when I remember to water them or when I don't. But otherwise, they're in what are called Wally gardens. So like Wally, W-A-L-L-Y gardens. And the old style of them, they do these plastic ones now because the felt ones do tend to get a little moldy if you're not careful. I have to watch out for that. But I have the old felt ones, and I just hooked 4 of them together. I added, what I did is I got like some stiff metal poles, and I just kind of zip tied my Wally Garden felt pieces, filled them with dirt, to the metal poles, and it's propped against my wall. It's not actually on my wall because we rent. So what I did is I just kind of propped it against the wall and then put the bookshelves around it, and that's my wall garden. It's not actually physically attached to my wall because I'm renting. But you can actually see me build it in some of my old vlogs if I am recalling correctly. So if you're wondering like how I did it, I'm like 99% sure that you can actually watch the vlogs, and there must be one where I'm showing off building that garden. I'm really ridiculously sure that I have at least one showing off building that garden. So definitely check that out, Ivy Covered Garden, and I hope you and your little one are doing great. And then JArts11, and I will try to answer these a little quicker because we have so many beautiful questions. I love it, you guys. JArts11 asks, are there any games you would like to play but you don't think really fit the theme of your channel? Interesting question, because I often don't feel I have a theme on my channel. I don't think in terms of like a brand anymore or a theme or keeping true to the theme. I mean, I'm posting these rambling Q&As in a 20-year-old game that I adore. I post vlogs when I feel like it that just completely are me talking about my lettuce for 20 minutes. But there are things, because I'm mindful, I don't specifically cater for a young audience, like a child audience. That's not my goal. It just kind of happened. But there are things I'm mindful probably wouldn't be very appropriate, like RimWorld. So I play RimWorld a lot. I love RimWorld so freaking much, but I am mindful of the fact it's probably not the best thing to have on my channel publicly. However, we do play RimWorld quite a bit, or we used to, and hopefully we will play it quite a bit in private Patreon streams, and my patrons loved it. I love it. I have literally like 400 to 500, maybe 600 hours in RimWorld. I play it heavily modded with tons of animals. I love it. It can be very violent, but I just love the story of it. So that doesn't fit the theme of the channel, but it is something that I do plan on hopefully being able to stream on my Twitch in the future. And I would probably still upload the videos to my channel, but they would be unlisted, so that you could only find it if you found the link from Twitch, so that you already had to be a grown-up to find it in the first place, is kind of the theory. And then we have, so switching gears a little bit, a really wonderful question from Sharon Firehawk. So good to see you, Sharon Firehawk. Sharon, aka Firehawk, I should say. Love your Q&As. I have a quirky one. If you could live in any Harvest Moon or Story of Seasons game, or just any game, what would it be? And actually, we had somebody else, I believe, ask the same question. Gosh, and I can't find where it is, but yeah, I know somebody else asked the same question. And if I could live in any of the Harvest Moon or Story of Seasons games, I think I would want to live in Trio of Towns, but I've only played like a little bit of Trio of Towns. But I love the idea of having all those different themed areas to visit. I really love just the feel that I had when I was playing it. But I also really love A Wonderful Life because you can make these hybrid plants, kind of like we're doing here. And I really like the Harvest Moon games, or the Story of Season games, where the town moves on around you, and after you get married, other people will get married and have kids. So one of those versions. And Rune Factory too, because I really do love the idea of mixing a pinch of magic with the world. So I kind of wish I lived in like take a little of this, a little of that, like a little crossbreed from all of the different Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons and Rune Factories that I love, and mix it together. And I would want to live in one of those worlds, I think. And I kind of feel like I sort of do. Animal Crossing too. Like mix a pinch of Animal Crossing, a dash of Harvest Moon, a swirl of Story of Seasons, and you get a little closer to where I ideally would want to be. And then Miss Rosie XO, so good to see you. You're always over in our vlog channel too, which I'm so excited to see you. I did kind of answer your question last time, but Miss Rosie asked, what are your top 3 highlights or best moments since starting the channel? I answered that one of the top 3 in depth in the last Q&A ramble vlog we did, so I highly recommend checking that out because it's was quite a doozy. It was very fun to realize, like, as I was speaking, like, wow, this is really true for me. And let's make sure we know what these seeds are. Ooh, they're mystery seeds. Okay. I will mix one and sell the other. But if I had to pick 2 more, like, oh gosh, how would I even explain it? If I had to pick like 2 more highlights since I started my channel, I think it would be, I think if I had to pick like 2 more highlights since starting my channel, this is, it's amazing how hard this is for me to like think through. I think it would be how long, kind of like not one specific moment, just like I answered last time. It's not really one specific moment, but how I have kind of come full circle on zoo crafting, of having gotten really overwhelmed and kind of pulling back from it because everyone was like, this is boring. It's not popular enough. How dare you play this, Seri? And kind of recovering from that. And then honestly, when I did the Warrior Cat series, because I did it kind of on a lark, which means a whim, to those of you who don't know that expression, and I didn't get it perfect, and I had only read, I didn't know there was like an entire huge series. When I read Warrior Cats, there was only the first 4 books, and then there was a very big gap between that and the next set that I aged out of, the like being able to find the books from. So when I started Warrior Cats, it was just my creativity let loose, and I had to do so much myself. There was no guideline, there was no understanding of how to play entirely just from the cats in The Sims 3. I had to teach myself so much about how to use the game the way I wanted, how to find the mods I wanted, how to tell the story in a way that I wanted. I got to work on my writing again, I got to work on my video editing more than I had done to that point. And I got to see a community get really excited. And now I'm getting excited about Warrior Cats again. So not because so much of the fandom, Not because so much of how it was quite a success for the channel, but because it was such a great, fun challenge for me on a personal level. And not only a challenge, but just very fulfilling on a creative level too. And fun. So it was all like 3 of those precious things put together that I would say getting the Warrior Cat series going, one of my first true attempts at creating kind of a roleplay series from within a game from scratch that could sustain itself. That is definitely one of my top 3 moments. Oh gosh, that was so fun to answer. But all right, I'll try to answer a few more of these as quickly as I can. There you are, Adam Milo 8. I knew that you asked if you could live in any of the games on my channel. What would it be too? So I answered your question earlier as well. A mishmash crossover of several of the series, basically. And then Adam also wants to know, have I done any interviews or do I have any plans to interview biologists and environmentalists like how I talked about in my older vlogs? And I actually have not had the chance, Adam. It turns out it's a lot harder to actually chase people down to do that than I thought it would be. And then also, I don't really have the gear still. People, when you say you want to interview someone, they don't want you to show up with a small vlog camera. They want it to be like a really like a professional thing. And the one time I did try to do it at a zoo that I had friends at who worked there, it got so complicated because they're like, well, you need to contact the PR person and then you need to fill out these forms and then you need to do these releases. And I realized that that was really pulling away from what I was actually going for, because then the people involved were so self-conscious about how it would make them look. I realized it was stressing them out, and that was not the point. I wanted to talk to my friend who worked there as a zookeeper, not to reflect upon the zoo itself, but to reflect upon her love of her career. And until I can find the nuanced way of kind of like walking that middle ground, I'm kind of putting that on the back burner and trying to approach things more from, at least I can be completely honest in ways that many people are not comfortable with getting behind or in front of a camera, by the way. Very few are. Very, very, very few are. Until I can figure out how to do it, that's kind of just on the back burner. But I am trying to kind of pull to the front my own passion for the natural world and being able to at least present my personal feelings on it, even though it's surprisingly hard to get people who are also passionate about it on camera because they're very shy. And I can totally understand that. It seems like a very scary thing. It seems like when you first start getting in front of a camera, everybody is going to be judging you, like, oh my gosh, it's very overwhelming. I really understand that and try to respect that. So yeah, a lot of people just aren't comfortable for it, but hopefully I can find somebody in the future who is. All right, and then I'm going to try to answer the last few questions really quickly. A little restorative sip of tea there while we watch this final flower get sold. We'll see if I can answer it before then. Angie's Lindstorm03 asked, what is the favorite book you've read so far this year? And that's an amazing question. I'm actually going to have to make an entire vlog answer about it, because that book would be Choosing Simplicity. And it is actually a very old book, but I do believe that it has utterly transformed my life, and it has been a call to action in a time where I feel we all need to accept the reality of needing to take the fate of our world and our lives in our hands. And it's Choosing Simplicity by Dwayne E. something, I believe. Very old book, very, very relevant. I was shocked to realize it was written so long ago, and yet it is so immediately pertinent to now. And it was one of the most transformational books I've ever read. So I'm going to end up doing an entire vlog channel vlog episode about it on the vlog channel. So hang in there, because that's going to be a big thing. And then you also ask, do I ever feel worried about climate change? I'm afraid that the world will be destroyed. Maybe, do you have some tips on how to live more sustainably? And Angie's Lindstorm 03, my friend, definitely keep an eye on the vlog channel, because I will be addressing that head on in a way that I've never really had the courage to do before, as I evolve my life into a new phase. And I'll be talking a lot about that over on the vlog channel coming up. And then, okay, this flower hasn't sold, so we're going to see if we can finish up. Maple tea tree. If I could be a nicheling, what traits and body parts would I have? Something tells me I would end up with crackerjaw, friend. Something tells me I would end up with crackerjaw, because all of my nichelings somehow do. But otherwise, I think I would love to maybe be brown? Maybe with spots? Maybe with stripes? And I think, you know, I would love a peacock tail. Kind of like my hair is so long, I would love a peacock tail. But other than that, I can't really think of any other traits I would want. I'd probably have nimble fingers, is my guess. So maybe that, maybe purr snout, so that I could purr at Chips and he loves cats. And then Shad the Fish 84 asked, do you have a name for your subscribers? Oh, that's such an interesting question. Because it's basically your name, whatever your name is. I used to think in terms of fandoms, and I would be like, oh, Pixel Biologist, of course. But as I'm doing this longer, I realize that fandoms can really set up a weird structure that I now want to tear down. And I just want to meet people as who they are, basically. So it's whatever your name is, my friend. And then Mighty Feral Fang says, have I heard about Shelter 3? I have indeed. I have. I'm keeping my ears out. It'll be really fun to see what they do. It's on my list. It's on my list. Rachel Anderson asked, what is my favorite fruit and favorite veggie, and what plant do I like the most? My favorite fruit are oranges. My favorite vegetables right now are carrots and Japanese yams, and definitely carrots actually. And what plant do I like the most is whatever one I am looking at the moment, because I love plants. And then finally, Dodo Raptor, who has also been around for so many freaking years, so good to see you, friend, had asked, now that you've stopped doing more than 6 videos every day, what do you see when you look back at yourself at those times? Huge question there. Very loaded. Answered with all of the burnout, the stress, the fear, the anxiety that I used to go through, but also the excitement, the hype, the feeling of creative energy really finally coming together. There's good and there's bad in those memories. Like I mentioned earlier, the power of being able to really create a world from scratch with Warrior Cats and all of our other series, the excitement and fun of being able to do new games, but also the exhaustion of trying to keep up with people's expectations on social media, on people's expectations for what I was putting out, on the surreal feeling that no matter how hard I worked or how much I made, it was not enough for people. All of that added together is kind of what I see when I look back at those times. But very vitally, the biggest thing I see is someone who made her life too complicated. Someone who was too caught up in a cycle of trying to avoid a void in her life that she felt, and someone who was too caught up in a cycle of purchasing things and consuming things, so that I was feeding the need to work harder to earn more money, because now don't I deserve a cute subscription box now and then? Now don't I deserve these cute pens? Because that's what you work hard for, right? For nice things. And it sounds so cliche, but again, this is a huge subject I'll be talking over on the vlog channel more about. When I look back at those times, the answer is I see someone who had good and bad events and good and bad decisions that she made, but had not yet woken up. And now I feel like I'm finally starting to rub my eyes and kind of stretch and get there, waking up. So yeah, all right, they didn't want this plant, my friends, honestly. They need to take our beautiful fabled lemon bushes, if you ask me. But let's go ahead and wrap up today's very long day by watering these plants. Thank you all so much for joining me. We're going to celebrate by buying one of the decorations in the wonderful nursery for sure. Let's plant some more of these seeds that we have kind of scattered in here. And I think if we have enough money, oh, we don't have enough money. So we're just going to plant all these seeds. There we go. And let's go ahead and buy ourselves the beautiful fountain. Oh, we did it. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh, I'm so excited, you guys. That's going to make our guests very happy, and that is years in the making. So that was every single question that I have collected so far. Some may have been left since then, and I'll collect them next round. Do please leave more questions here for me next time. I will try to go through some of them faster, and what I will be doing is the ones that are really big, like Angies. You asked such a huge question about my favorite book. Dodo Raptor, a big question about who I see when I look back at that time and who I feel I am now. Like, how do I feel about climate change, living more sustainably? All of those things are huge, and I will actually be unraveling them day after day over on the vlog channel soon, because I do feel it's important to speak about those things. So, alright my friends, thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you're all having a beautiful, wonderful day wherever you are. Do please leave some comments. If you would like to, leave a little like to help me catch some bugs here in our beautiful nursery. And if you would like to find your way easily back to our greenery, do please consider subscribing. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!